Hello guys, to go ahead and use ChatGPT to create a system whereby an API basically using Python. We're going to be using Flask to interact with the OpenAI library. And then we'll also learn, I will also show you different ways that you can make money by using this API. So we'll do different stuff like image generation, sentiment analysis, code correction and stuff like that. So we'll be covering all of that in this video. So let me just show you how it works. For example, let me just search from this first one right here. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say how to hack a computer, right? So I sent a request to the first API on how to hack a computer, and let's go ahead and simply say, let's just correct this sentence right here. Let's say, what is your name? So let's say, what is your name, just like that. And if I just press execute, let's see what we get back. So we're going to send this to the back end, and if now you can see my name is John. So it's simply the chat GPT reply with my name is John, and you can see that information right here. It replied my name is John. Okay, so you can see that it works fine. And if let's go ahead and try other functionality. Let's try to give this instruction. So I just send an instruction right here, how to hack a computer. So give steps to hack into a computer. So our instruction is just how to hack into a computer, and you're just giving the prompt of how to hack into a computer. So once we go ahead and execute that, you can see it returns to us instructions on how to hack into a computer. So just so you can see the instruction right here, how to hack into a computer. Get the first number one is get the IP address of the computer. Use nmap. You can see use metasploit. It's all of those things are used for hacking. So you can see it's kind of correct to some certain degree. I'm not a hacker. I'm not a professional hacker, so I can't really tell you whether that this is correct or not. And it's a long test. You have to read through all of it to know if it's actually correct. But for now, that's basically that functionality. So we can just send instructions and do basically anything we want. So also let's try to generate an image. So let's say let me just try this out. And let's try to generate an image man in a Tesla Tesla on the moon dancing. Okay, so let's just say we're trying to generate an image of man in a Tesla on the moon dancing. So if I press execute right here, let's see what you're going to go ahead and generate. So man, we expect man to be on the moon in a Tesla and dancing. So this is going to take a bit of time, and it's going to send us the URL for the image that you generated. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this URL. I'm going to copy the URL from here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it right here and simply run that. So once I run that, it should return to me an image of a man on the moon in a Tesla and dancing. So let's see what the AI generates. I'm very excited to see what we get, what the AI generates from here. So let's give it some time to load. Okay, so this is actually a little bit big, it's a big image. So let's give it a bit of time. And once it's done, you can see, okay, I can see a man there, kind of like a man, and then in a Tesla. Okay, and then that's like this is the moon, so it's kind of like correct, right? Because you have a moon in the picture, we have man, and you have a Tesla, and the guy looks like he's dancing, right? So yeah, that's basically it. And let's try out another feature of this API. So let me so now that I've looked at image, how to deal with generate images, let's try to go ahead and look at sentiment analysis. So we can use sentiment analysis just to generate cool sentiment, to perform sentiment analysis using ChatGPT without having to write any complicated models by ourselves. So we can just go ahead and simply have a text here. I am going to kill myself. So let's go ahead and see what sentiment we get from this. This supposed to be a negative sentiment. So let's see what we get. So is it a hate? It's false. It's not hate. So let's say I hate mangoes, and let's see what we get back. So it's not, you can see that it's not hate, it's not harm, self-harm. Okay, self-harm is true, right? I am going to kill myself, and it's true. And the percentage for that is 99%. Okay, so I'm going to kill myself. That's right, self-harm. That's, you can see the AI tells us is self-harm, and returns to us is a percentage of self-harm. So that's basically it for how this API that we're going to be building. We're going to be using FastAPI in Python, and basically that's all we need to do. So we also need to create an account with OpenAI. So you can just go to on the internet, and you can just search for beta.openai.com. And once you have that loaded, you can simply go ahead and generate an account. You can go ahead and create an account. I already have an account already created, so I'm not going to go ahead and I'm already logged in, so I'm not going to go ahead and show you how to create an account. But you can just go to beta.openai.com and then simply create an account. I already have an account, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. So once you have seen the demo, let me just go ahead and stop the server, clear the terminal, and then let me just go into this tab right here. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. And in here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a folder. I'm going to make a folder. I can call it Fast API. What should we call it? We can say Fast API OpenAI. So open AI, just like that. So I can just say OpenAI and press enter. So I'm going to change directory into my FastAPI OpenAI folder. So once I'm inside of that folder, you can see the folder is empty, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create a directory inside of that folder. So I'm going to simply type the create a source .env file inside of this folder. So I'm going to show you how to do this on all operating systems. So if you're on Windows, you simply have to type pi, and then you're going to say hyphen m, and then vnv, and then vnv. That's what you do if you're on Windows. If you're on Linux or MacBook, you have to actually type out Python 3. Okay. So if you're using Python 2, then you can just say Python. But if you're using Python 3, you can just type Python 3 and then dash m vnv, and then the name of the virtual environment is vnv. Okay. So we're going to simply go ahead and press enter. So once we press enter, that is going to go ahead and create a virtual environment for us. Okay, so if I do ls, which is on Windows is equivalent is dir. Okay, so ls is for Windows, so ls is for MacBook and Linux machine. If you're Windows, you're going to do a dir. So you can see a folder there called vn, which are virtual environment. So let's go ahead and activate it. You're going to say source vnv/bin/activate. Okay, so the process of activating it for Windows is a bit different, and I don't know the command for it. I forgot the command a bit, but this is how you activate it if you're on Windows, if you're on a Linux or a MacBook. Okay, so once you have the virtual environment created and activated, you're going to go ahead and install a couple of libraries. So we're going to be building the API using you're going to be using a FastAPI for this, so we need to install FastAPI. So just go to fastapi.tiangolo.com and simply just type in FastAPI in Google and just click on the first link. It's probably going to bring you to this page right here. So just say pip install FastAPI. So I'm going to go ahead and simply paste that here and run it. So pip install FastAPI, and that's going to go ahead and install FastAPI. Make sure your virtual environment is activated. Okay, so once you have FastAPI installed, we need to also install UVCon that can enable us to run the FastAPI. Okay, so I put this space that and install. Okay, that's going to also install UVCon for us. Once we have that done, I'm going to clear the terminal and simply open my favorite text editor. I'm going to be using VS Code, so feel free to use any editor that you're comfortable using. So I'm going to create a file. I'm going to call it I'm going to call this file, I'm going to call it main.py. Great. So I'm going to simply go ahead and simply set up a simple FastAPI application right here. So we're going to say from FastAPI, I'm going to go ahead and import FastAPI. Okay, I'm going to create an instance. I'm going to say a app is going to be equals to fast API, just like that, and let's call make that instance. So once I have that, I can simply go and write a simple route to return to us a hello. So I'm going to say app dot get, and you're going to say forward slash. You're going to go here and say def. You're going to say index, just index, just a test, and I'm going to simply return. I'm going to return a simple JSON, dictionary. I'm going to say message, and I'm going to simply pass in hello, just like that. So once I have I've simply built a simple basic API. So let me just go ahead and actually arrange these things a bit. So I'm going to move this one right here, and I'm going to move this right here. So I have this arrangement. Okay, good. So once I have that, I'm going to simply go ahead, and you can see I have the main.py file there. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to say uvcon and uvcon main, and then I call this app. App is the name of our instance. So whatever you call this is what you specified after the colon right here. And I'm going to say hyphen reload, and then press enter. So you can see our API has started and it's running on localhost at port 5000. So if I go into my browser and then search for localhost, so if I go in here and then search for localhost at port 8000, and if I press enter, you can see we get back message hello world. So if you can also go to the documentation packages /docs and returns you the documentation path. So if you go here, click on try and click try it out, and then press enter, you can see we get back message of hello world. Good. So everything is working. So now that we have everything set up there, we're going to go ahead and simply install the library for OpenAI. So if you go to the official documentation of OpenAI, you can find all that information right there. Okay. So you can go to the section of libraries, and then you can see pip install OpenAI. So just copy that command and just go inside of your terminal, stop the development cell by pressing Control and C, and then paste in that what you have copied. So let me just make sure I delete the $sign in front of this command and press enter. So that's going to go ahead and install OpenAI library for us that can enable us to interact with OpenAI. So once we have that done, we are good to go. And we also need to install one more library. But for now, don't worry about it. Let's just dive into the coding part. And what you're going to go ahead and do is simply create a route. And this route we're going to start with the part where we're going to be dealing with like giving the submitting a text to the API, and the API does something, right? So That's basically it. So if you can tell the API maybe what's your name, like in the example, you asked the API what's your name, and it said my name is John, right? So you're going to do the same thing right here. So we're going to go ahead and create a route for that. But before we do that, we need to set up we need to set up OpenAPI. So I'm going to go ahead and say from I'm going to go ahead and so we need to go ahead and say I'm going to import API. So open AI, just like that. I'm also going to import OS, and I'm also going to go ahead and I'm saying I'm going to import this from .env. I'm going to import load env, just like that, and I'm going to go down here and simply say load env, just like that. Good. So once we have that done, we can go ahead and write the functionality to generate to get to send text to the AI, and the AI is going to be responding to us. So the first thing we want to go ahead and do, we need to actually load a couple of environment variables. So to interact with the OpenAI API, you need to have an API key. So once you are logged into your account in the OpenAI the website, which is beta.openai.com, you can simply go into the section of view API keys. And once you are there, you can go ahead and simply say hit on generate API key. So I'm going to use this API key and simply okay. Okay. So once you have this done, I'm going to go ahead and simply go back in my VS Code. I'm going to create a .env file. So say .env and then press enter. So once I have this .env file created, I'm going to go ahead and paste that API code. Okay. So don't use my API code because I'm going to go ahead and change it after this. So if you use it, it will not work for you. Okay. So I want to call this Open API just by this key, this word. You can call it anything you want, but I'm just going to go ahead and call it by that. Okay. So I'm going to paste that right, and it's going to be equals to this. Okay, so once we have that done, we are good to go. So we need to initialize our OpenAI. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy this part of the code, go back in here and into my main.py file, and then simply go ahead and I can keep it right here. Good. So that's going to initialize our OpenAI. So once we have that done, we are good to go. So make sure that you have the .env imported, and you have called this function right here. Is this function that loads the environment variables from here into memory that you can access by using the OS module. So make sure that you have this function called and you have everything above as it defined. Okay. So once we have that, now let's write the function to be able to get prompt from the user, and then text from the user, and then send that text to the API, and then get the response of the API. So we're going to be using a post request because the user is going to be sending something to us. So we're going to say app.post. Okay. So once I say app.post, I'm going to go ahead and simply just say this and just say I'm just going to use the default route. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let me just say, let me just actually give this a name. So let's say prompt. I can call it anything you want, but I'm just going to call it prompt. Okay, it's a weird name, but yeah. So we're going to call this one text underscore instruction, or let's say text completion, or we can say text completion, completion, just like that. So we're going to go ahead and simply get something. We need to get the text from the user. So I'm going to go ahead and write a model to get that text from the user. And to do this, you're going to be using the Pydantic model. So let's go ahead and write the code for that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead down and say I'm going to say from Pydantic, I'm going to go ahead and import the base model. Okay, base model, just like that. I'm going to say from typing, we're going to be using some typings here. I'm going to import union, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead here and create the model. So the first one, I'm going to say create a class, and I'm going to call it simple text, just like that. It's going to inherit from the base model. Okay, so in here, we're going to take in a prompt. We're going to take in a prompt, and the prompt is going to be of type str, basically a string. So that's all we need, and you're going to go ahead and simply say you're going to take in a text from the user, and the text what the user is supposed to pass in a parameter called, we can call it simple text, simple underscore text, and it's going to be of type simple text. Okay, so once we have the simple text interview, we can simply go ahead and make a request to the API. So we're going to say response, and you're going to, whatever the API response it, you're going to store it in the response variable. So I'm going to say open AI dot edit dot create. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create the form. We're going to say model, and the model is going to be equals to, we're going to say text hyphen, we're going to say da Vinci hyphen, we're going to say edit. Okay, this is the name of the model. You just have to like type in the exact thing that you have. So this is going to be 1 instead of 3. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and say let me just break this down. We're going to say input, and input is going to be of the following. Input is going to be text, the simple text that we get. So the simple text dot prompt, right? Just like that. So we're getting the simple text, which is what we define up here. It's simply getting the prompt property, which is what is coming from this class, because this simple text is going to be of type simple text. So it has an attribute called prompt, and that's the attribute that you're trying to access from here. Okay. So once we have that done, I can simply go ahead and I can say temp. I can say temperature. So temperature, and you're going to say temperature is going to be 0, and you're going to say max underscore. You can say max token or max length, but for now let's just leave the max token part out. Now hit we need to control and save on this. So you can see prettier format. I have prettier installed, so it formatted the code for me. So once I have the response from the API, which is going to be the chat or ChatGPT AI, so I'm going to simply go ahead and return the response. I'm going to pass in a dictionary right here, and I'm going to say response, and the response is going to be of type the response that we got back from the API. So from the AI. So that's all we need to do, and we are good to go. So once we have this done, let's check if our server is running. So check if the server is running. I have to restart the server again. So run the server. Okay, so it's running. We don't have any error. So good. Let's go ahead and actually try it out. Okay, so you can just go out to your browser, type in localhost at port 5000. So at port 8000. I'm just going to refresh this, and if I minimize it, you can see we have prompt which takes in this right here, get this post request. So I'm going to go here and say what is your name, just like that, and simply make a request, and let's see what the AI responds with. So that we got back and it got an internal server error. So we have an error in our code. So let's go ahead and actually fix that. Okay, so once we have that done, I actually made a typo right here. This is not input, actually it's actually supposed to be prompt. So prompt, just like that. My bad for that. I actually made that error, so it's going to be prompt. And once we have that done, hopefully I don't have any more errors. And let's change this one to be 3 instead of 1. Okay, so I made those 2 errors. So this is prompt, and this one here is 3. So the text DaVinci -03. So that's it, and I have to delete the edit part. Okay, because it's not this is a different model. Okay, so once I have this done, I'm ready to go. So let me check if my server is running. It is running, so I'm going to go back in here and then simply make a request again. And let's see what, okay, we still have an internal server error. So let me just see, instruction is required. So let me see right here, what's the cause of the error. So we said prompt, we said the model, and the model is going to be text DaVinci, right? And then -300, okay? And then you're saying prompt is going to be simple text dot prompt. That's good. And then we finally set the temperature. That's good. The temperature. So that's basically it. What we need to do. Okay. So let me just go ahead, actually stop my development server and start it again. Sometimes you can get this error. So stop it, clear the terminal, and then I'm going to run my server once more time. Okay. So once it's running, I'm going to go in here, and then simply make a request again. So we still get the same error. So I don't know what's the point of it. You say instruction is not is a required property. So let me just try to figure out where I made an error. So I made an error right here. So this is not edit. This is actually supposed to be completion.create. Okay. So my bad for that is actually completion.create, and then simply passing the model, which is actually text DaVinci -300, and then the prompt is going to be simple text dot prompt, and temperature we're going to leave it to be 0. That's basically it. Sorry for that error, those errors. Actually, I was typing the code for the other function you're going to create after this instead of so I confused the 2 functions, but basically that's it. So let's check if the server is running. It is running. So let's go in here and let's execute this. So now the AI is going to respond. Hopefully we don't have any errors. And then once the AI responds, it should return to us a response to this question we ask: what is your name? And we can see my name is John. It has responded, my name is John. Okay, well, let's ask it again. What's the name? Or what's the name? What's your sister's name? That's a weird question to ask, but let's see what the AI responds with. So let's just ask it, what's your sister's name? My sister's name is Sarah. Okay, good. Good. And you can see it right here in the response. My sister's name is Sarah. So good. I don't know who Sarah is, but yeah, that's basically it. So once we have that done, you're going to now write another function to take. You can give basically an instruction to the AI, and it's going to give you. You can ask a question and gives a couple of instructions, and it asks you what you need to do. In the case, in our example, we asked the AI ChatGPT to give us ability how to hack into a computer, right, and give us the instructions. So we're going to write the route to do that, and we're going to say app. We're going to say app. It's going to be app dot post. Going to be post, and you're going to simply say /, and it's going to be instructions. So it's going to take a couple of instructions, and you're going to simply say dev text underscore with underscore instructions, And you're going to go ahead and take in as we're going to take in text, and text is going to be of type text is instruction. It's going to be another model right here. So let's go ahead and create another model, and this is going to be a pedantic model. So we're going to take in two things, right? You're going to take in this is going to be text with instructions. So we're going to take in the input, which is going to be the text input, yeah. And you're going to also take another thing, which is going to be the text, right? So the prompt rather. So prompt is going to be of type str. So good. So once we have those things right here, we can go here and it's going to be of type text with instructions. And you're going to go ahead the function. So you're going to pass in the response. We're going to store whatever the AI response within the response variable. And you're going to say open AI dot. We're going to say open AI dot, and you're going to say edit, and then you're going to say after edit you're going to say dot create. You're going to call the create method, and you're going to go ahead and pass in a couple of things. Pass in the model to use, and the model is going to be text da Vinci, da Vinci, like Leonardo da Vinci, yeah, da Vinci, and then hyphen 003. Okay, so no, I actually made an error. It's the Da Vinci hyphen edit hyphen 001. Okay, so that's it. So we're going to say text hyphen Da Vinci hyphen edit hyphen 001. That's the name of the model. So once I have the model passed in, I'm going to pass in the input, and the input is going to be of type text dot input. Okay, so text is the if you see here we have text, and it's going to be of type this uh basically model. So you're just accessing the input attributes from that model. Okay, so once we have that in there, I'm going to go ahead and also specify the instruction. So instruction. So the instruction is going to be the phone. So it will be text dot prompt, right? So text dot prompt, and then we pass in that. So instruction is going to be text dot prompt, and you can also specify the temperature if you want temperature. And the temperature is going to be, we can leave it to be 0 by now. So for now, we can leave it to be 0. So once we have that, you're going to go ahead and make a response. Return the response back to the front end. So we can just copy and paste this return statement right here. So that's all we need to do. So let's go ahead and actually try it out and see if it works. So the server is running, and you're going to go into the front end, and I'm going to minimize this for now. And if I refresh, you can see another part is going to pop up, which is right here, instructions. So I'm going to click on it and then click on try it out. So let's say out instructions on how to hack a computer system. Okay. Okay. Let's make it even more simple. Let's say how to cook a cake. How to cook a cake, like how to bake a cake. Is that not cook? So you bake cakes, right? How to bake a cake, and you're going to go here and say instructions. We're going to tell it give us instructions on how to bake a cake, just like that. So once I have that, I'm going to simply go ahead and press execute, and it's going to make a request to the server, and let's see what we get. So okay, now this is a bit weird. It just give us one line of code. It says how to bake a cake, preheat oven to 360 degrees, and then mix ingredients, bake cake for 30 minutes. Now that's not detailed at all, but yeah, that's basically it. It gave us at least an idea of how to bake a cake, right? So that's basically it. So let's go ahead and write another route right here. In this route, you're going to go ahead and write the route for image generation. So we're going to simply say app gonna be app dot, it's gonna be a post request. So I'm going to say image, okay, images, okay. So I can go ahead and say images, and then down here I'm going to have a function, and this function I'm going to simply call it generate image. So generate generate underscore image, and you're going to take in the text. Okay, that's going to tell the computer which image you're looking for. So we're going to take in the simple text, because we're only going to be looking for we're going to be looking for only a prompt, right? Which image you want to generate, for example, a man on the moon or something like that. So we're going to simply say response. We're going to store the response of the OpenAI in this variable called response. We say dot image dot create, okay, and you're going to go and pass in a couple of values. We're going to say prompt, and the prompt is going to be equals to the following. So the prompt is going to be text dot input, like if you call it text dot prompt, okay, text dot prompt. And you're also going to go ahead and pass in the number of images you want. If you want just one image, you can generate multiple images, but in this case I just want one image, and it is specify the size is going to be 124 1024 by 1024, okay, by, so you just say x 1024, just like that. So 1024 by 1024. So once we get the image, I'm going to get the image URL. So when we say image underscore URL is going to be equals to, we're going to say response dot, no response, we're going to go ahead and get the data. You can also use this get method if you want. You're going to get at index 0. I think it's going to return me a list. I get index 0, and then I'm going to go finally go ahead and get the URL. Okay. Okay, so once we have that done, that's basically the image URL. So I'm going to go ahead and return. I'm going to return a dictionary right here. I'm going to say response, and the response are going to pass in the image URL. That's all we need. So we are good to go. So once I have that done, I'm going to check if the server is running. Yeah, the server is running. So go in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and minimize this for now. Refresh this. Now you're going to see another part right here, which is called image. So execute, try it out. You can just click on try it out and just simply say image of a penguin cooking a cake, or cooking a meal. Let's just say that. I don't know. Let's see what it gets. We get back. So it also get back an image of a penguin cooking, right? Basically, that's basically it. It's what you're going to get back. So now you get back the URL for that image. I'm going to copy it right here. Copy it. Open a new tab. If I can just paste it. Open a new tab and just paste it over there and press enter. So now you're going to get a penguin cooking. Oh, good, 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 good. Yeah, we got actually a good image of a penguin cooking. I actually like this, right? You should look this as your profile picture. Let me just take a picture of it. So let me just take a picture of it. It actually look good. So I'm just going to take a picture of it. Just drag that a bit here. Okay. Actually look a good image. So I'm just gonna save it. Okay, good. So once we have that done, we can continue. So we're going to write the last route, and this route you're going to go ahead and simply say app dot. We're going to have another post request again, and this is going to use. We're going to use this to do the sentiment analysis. We're going to say sentiment analysis, just like that, and then you're going to go ahead and have a function def. We're going to say sentiment analysis, and you're going to go ahead and simply take text, and it's going to be of type simple text because you already need a prompt. Okay, so we're going to simply store the response in the variable called response, and it's going to be equals to open AI dot we're going to say moderation dot create. So we're going to create a moderation. You're going to go ahead and pass in just one input, and it's going to be called input, and its value is going to be text dot prompt, right? Okay, so once you have that, you're going to go ahead and simply do the sentiment right here. So I'm going to say sentiment underscore result is going to be equals to the response. We're going to simply say get results, and then finally you're going results, and then you're going to simply do one, going to get the first index. So that's basically it. So once we have that, I'm going to go ahead and return a dictionary, if you can call it. We're going to call this, sorry, let me just print the wrong key. So I'm going to say response, and the response is going to be sentiment analysis result, just like that. So sentiment analysis results are going to simply say response dot get results, and then finally getting the first index of those results. So once you have that done, that's good. Let's check if the server is running. It is running. Good. So let's go ahead and to our front end right here, and then let me just go ahead and refresh this one more time. So once I have this refreshed, just minimize this, I can see that we have now the sentiment analysis part. So if I go ahead and click on try it out, I can go ahead and say I hate mangoes. Okay, let's just say I hate mangoes. I actually love mangoes. Okay, so let me just say I hate mangoes. It's just going to be a negative sentiment, right? So it's not hate, but I hate mangoes. That's not hate, but yeah, it's not. Okay, let's write as something violent. I kill. No, that's like that's too bad. I wanted to say I kill something. Let's try to write. Let me just say hate, sexual. I don't want to say anything sexual. Self hate. Let me just do something self hate. I wanna hurt myself. Okay, hurt myself. That should be like self harm, right? So let's see what we get. And we get self harm is true. And how many percent is that? 99.9%. So it's actually very, very accurate because I want to harm myself. It's actually self hurt or self harm, right? So yeah, that's basically it for the API. So now you have learned how to use FastAPI to interact with Open or ChatGPT, right? OpenAI's ChatGPT. So once you have all this code done, how can you actually make sure that you can make revenue from this code? So what you can simply go ahead and do is actually deploy your API on Rapid API. So if you just go on the online and search for Rapid, let me just find it right here. Rapid APIs, you can find the instruction on how to deploy your API on Rapid API. And once you deploy it on Rapid API, you can set, like, let me just show you the section where you can go and actually monetize this API. So you can monetize the API where people have to pay you every time they use the API, right? So you can just set a price. And once people make the request the API, you get a certain price when they exceed a certain limit, right? So I wanted to do this, but I actually not just open my Heroku and found out that Heroku doesn't support the free dinos anymore. And right, like if it doesn't support the free dinos, like you have to pay nowadays. So that's why I actually did not actually host the app because I wanted to show you how to host the app and then finally deploy it on uh, Rapid API. So, but basically, I can't afford to pay for the bills. Okay, so if you guys want to support me, you can support the channel. Just the easiest you can support me just by liking this video, dropping a comment in the comment section below. Maybe in the future I'll be able to afford to host this on a Heroku and demonstrate this to you. Okay, if you also want to help me, you can also buy me a coffee. The link is gonna be in the description of the video. So yeah, guys, that's all for this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, again, you can simply show support by liking the video, dropping comment in the comment section below. You can subscribe the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And if you want to support me, you can buy me a coffee. The link is in the description. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Keep safe.